Hey, what's up, guys? This is Vince from WhenInManila.com and WIMPLAYS, talking to you today about how to build an Axie team. So I'll give you the basics of, well, not the basics, I'll give you some advanced tips as well of what you kind of want. And also my advice, I did fall in the top 100 in the previous Axie Infinity season. It was my first season, so just wanted to give you some of my tips on what I found testing different teams, on what does well for your three Axies, for the perfect team. The way I call them is usually you'll have three parts. The front guy, it will be your tank. Usually, your midliner will be in the middle, and I call the Axie at the back the closer, because usually you want it to close out your battles most of the time. When it's a one-on-one situation, you want that to be your last Axie standing for the most part, other than, of course, getting backdoor killed early on in the fight. But yeah, here we go. Let me talk to you about how to build a great Axie team, the three Axies you might need. So let's get started. The first Axie you need, the guy in front, is usually a tank. Most of the time, oh, by the way, so these are just my suggestions. These are my recommendations. But of course, there's so many great ideas out there. So many cool things to do. So many different ways to build a team. So, mix and match. Hopefully, this inspires you or it makes you think of some cool combination. But of course, these are just tips. And the game is also ever evolving. So the meta keeps changing. So I feel like there's never going to be the right perfect way. But here are some tips on things that worked for me. That got me in the top 100. So for your front guy, I haven't seen that much variation. And even with me, when I tested out different things, I'd always just go back to a plant. Because for your front guy, you just want it to survive long enough for your back two guys, for your back two Axies, to get the combos, the cards they need to win. So plants have the most health. This one has 61 health as a pure plant. That's usually over 500 health. And the way that is, if you're not familiar, is it's just Axie base stats. A plant has 43 health, and the only other thing is a dusk that has 43 health, but the dusk goes a bit much faster than a plant, which you don't want. You kind of want your plant to go last, because most plants, 90% of plants at least that I've fought, have this card, the serious card. And if you go last, you get to steal back energy, or even on a worst case scenario, if you're going best case scenario, if you're going last, if he attacks you with serious and you don't have any energy, then he steals nothing. And then when you go last after him, and you attack with serious, and he has one more, you get to steal that from him. So that's usually you want to go last. Plus, there are some plant cards that do really well last. But of course, again, this depends on your build, depends on many different things. But for the most part, you want your plant to go really slow. So I don't recommend any dusks, because it does go faster. At the same time, for all your parts, you do want the plant. That way you just get HP. The other one that gives 3 HP is a reptile parts, but it gives you speed. So you just want plant parts, HP, and morale. That's pretty much what you want. So pure plants, or the only other thing I usually play with is a plant with the disguise, which is a bug card, which gives you energy. For your plant, you usually just want ways to get energy and to survive. So this is a very basic plant where there's 2 ways to get energy and 2 ways to survive. The pumpkin, which also adds utility by letting you draw a card just in case the shield doesn't break. But at the same time, 110 shield, that's like 1 extra attack from the opponent. So let's say you're about to die. Let's say you have 50 life. The opponent thinks you're 1 card away. He attacks with 1 card. You use this, you survive another round. That's what you want from your plants, to survive as long as possible. And if you're able to time it right, you're able to heal with this, which gives you more life. It's very hard for the opponent to kill you. And as mentioned, you just want ways as well, utility for your plant to get you energy, to prepare your back 2 guys to attack once they have the cards they want. So these 2 cards are great. The other versions of plants, let me show you. one other version of plant that I usually play with is this one. So usually with the disguise. So at least here I have two ways to get energy. This one, the reason I use this is because for one of my builds, I have this with the allergic reaction. It deals 130% damage to debuff targets. So when they're poisoned, it does big help for me. So that's where it comes in, where you just shop around for something that helps your squad. So what you might need for your squad. But this is a very basic plant. I would go, if you can, I guess, as pure as possible, just because for plants you want to go last. But that's what you want in a tank. You want some utility to where it gets you energy, and you want it to survive as long as possible. Of course, depending on your team, if your back end, if the back two can also get you energy, then maybe your plant can do a little bit more damage. Excuse me, let me show you one plant I'm trying to play around with, but because of the server issues, I haven't been able to as much. But I'm going to try and play around with this plant to where hopefully I'm going to have energy cards that can get me energy with my back two. So this one only has Vegetal Bite, but it could possibly draw me extra cards with these two and do good damage. Especially he's most likely going to go last because he's a pure plant. He's as slow as it can be. So this is one I'm playing around with, but so far it's pretty much plants for tanks in front is what I would recommend. Okay, so now that we've talked about plants, let's remove that. Let's put a plant up there. There you go. Now, let's just remove that and remove that. For your midliner, here's the very, very, very basic midliner usually that most people use. The most basic starter build for starting Axie Infinity players is Plant Bird Beast. It's a really good team, and you still win a lot. And the Beast is usually the midliner. For your midliner, that's where you're a bit flexible, I feel like. I feel like your front guy is usually a tank. It's hard to go anywhere else. I've tried different things. I've tried Aquas up there, going faster and healing. They die too easily. I've seen other teams try that as well, but so it really depends. But for the most part, it's a tank. For the back, your last Axie, your third Axie, it's usually you need a closer, an Axie that does well one-on-one. For your midliner, that's where you get to be flexible. I've seen so many different ones. Most of the time, it's either a DPS, someone who deals massive damage, which is why the Beast, or someone who's very tricky somehow. So that's how you get flexible with your midliner. So for the plant, the basic one, the Plant Bird Beast, the Beast is the DPS in the middle. And the Bird is the closer because it goes so fast. So for this Beast has a little bit of utility as well, where it could possibly gain you an energy as well. Definitely when comboed with this. And Beasts have very high chance of crits because their morale is high. But this one is a guaranteed crit. So usually they call it the Rimp combo, Ronin, Imp, Rimp. And then this Nutcracker double combo, the double nut combo, gives massive damage. So this is a very good midliner. The reason, personally, I don't like Beasts that much because they're very, very soft as far as health. They die easily. So usually if you do play a Beast in the middle, if you get one good combo out, it's ready to die. Like if you get like a good 1, 2, 3, 4, like a good combo out, it's like, okay, I'm ready to die. You can kill me now. Like once it kills the plant, or once it does something good, maybe 1 or 2 combos, and yeah, you're good to go. So that's why I kind of shy away from the Beast. But this is a very basic Beast. I've seen others where it doesn't have the utility of gaining energy, but it does more DPS. So that's where you play around with that. The other one, the very popular midliner that I see would be this one. One second, just let me prepare one more thing to show you. But this one, where it's the Tri-Spikes reptile. this is where try spikes or some sort of backdoor or some sort of trickiness. Now with this build, you get the tri spikes. The massive damage comes from this combo, but it's hard to get because you pretty much need to get these 2 cards. But once you apply the debuff, or sometimes with the poison from the plant, this 130% damage, sometimes it does 163, if not higher, or around 163 as one of the high damages when they're debuffed. So this does really good. And then with this tri-spike, it avoids any shielded Axies, or the highest shielded. So the lowest shield gets attacked. So usually you're able to kill it. And it adds a little utility to where if you attack something faster than it, which is most everything other than bugs and plants. So when it attacks beasts, birds, other reptiles, aquas, usually you'll also get energy. So this is a very, very good build for midliner because it's tricky and it has nice utility. It has that backdoor stealth, and at the same time, it does massive damage with this. So this is another possible midliner build that I use, and one I'm playing around with, although it's a bit, I'm not that used to it yet. But this one actually is a weird one because this one I see triple aquas with this build, where the front, the midliner, and the closer is this. It can actually do all 3. So this is just a bonus one, but I'm showing it as a midliner because I feel like it could be a midliner with the right build where it does okay damage. Actually, I would swap this out for there is an aqua card that does something like the tri spikes. It's this one, Spinal Tap. Prioritize idle target when combo with at least 2 additional cards. So doing that, it's similar, but you go so much faster. So when it's 2-on-2, usually you'll go before them. It's a pretty big deal if you have an aqua over a reptile. I've died so many times because I go I go third behind the 2 aquas or like a bird beast when it's 2-on-2 when both plants are dead. So this is really good. I didn't mention earlier, but for tanks, you did want, again, plant parts, but there are some cards you could play around with, but then your speed goes faster. But anyway, we'll talk about that some other video. But yeah, so cool thing. So 3 good DPS cards over 100, and then this one gives you a little utility that does minor damage but gains you energy. So that's that, and so that's for your midliners. So so for your midliner, let me put down, it's either the beast or that reptile. Let's just put down the reptile. Where is that reptile that I use? Here we go. And then this last one will be your closer. Again, I call it the closer because usually, other than getting backdoor attacked, you want it to be the last Axie standing, and it has to be really good on one-on-one situations. For the most part, that closer, you'll want it to have some sort of free card, because that way you can still use 3 cards per turn, even though you're only getting 2 energy per turn. In this case, that's why this is also a good closer, because not only is it a free card, so you get to play 3 cards, it gives you an energy, so next turn you get to play 4 cards maybe. So the most common one with the plant bird beast combo is the bird. And the reason the bird is a good closer is just because of its speed. It goes the fastest, 61 speed. So when it's one-on-one and you have cards like, most birds are pure attack. They don't do any defense. So most of the time, let's just say you drew the perfect hand. You drew 4 of these, 2 and 2. So that's for 520. My math's not wrong. 520 damage with these 4 cards. And you go first. So it's going to be very hard for them to survive that. The problem is you are so, oh my god, 27 health. So if they do survive that, then you are going to have a hard time, because look at his defense, 0, 0, 0, 20. So oh, look at this one. Deals 120% damage if this Axie attacks first, so that's might even be higher than that. So birds, they close out just by going first. So ideally, when it's one-on-one, the opponent won't have too much shield and you go first, or they're already a little bit damaged and a big 4-card attack from you can kill it off. So that's how you close with a bird, or then you get a bit trickier. This is a very common one. Excuse me. Is, as I mentioned, you usually want some sort of free card for a closer. In this case, the reason this is a nice closer, other than the free card, is discarding and keeping his options at the end very limited. But this card, it's an OP card. It's Numbing Decretion, where especially against Terminators, it's like auto win if it's one-on-one Terminator, because Terminator's cards are all. Oh shoot! I didn't. Yeah. In fact, let me talk about Terminators. I also have a Terminator. Is this my Terminator? Here we go. This is the usual Terminator build, but it's all melee. So this disable targets melee cards. That's all gone. But if you look at this Terminator, it has the one free card. You get to go before them sometimes. You get to slow them down. Maybe not birds, but even Aquas with double this. It stacks speed minus twice. It stacks up and you get to go first. You get to double stun them a lot of times, which is why there's a Terminator build. And then with the stun, it also ignores shield. So a lot of times when you stun them, if they're slowed, doing this really does massive damage. But lately I've been playing more with the Numbing Decretion just because it seems to be OP against Terminators, and I feel like so many people already have this Terminator build. In fact, I was able to breed my own Aqua Terminator, which goes much faster than the Reptile Terminator. Let me just show it to you. But I feel like I've outgrown it. 46 speed, 46 health versus this one, 47 health and 42 speed. The speed really matters at the end, because especially if it's Terminator versus Terminator, sometimes who gets to go first does the kill. So fortunately it took a while, but I was able to build this Aqua Terminator with those same cards. But it seems like the meta has changed, and nowadays instead of the snail shell, it's that sleep bird card that I hate. Soothing Song applies sleep, but for some reason, oh, they buffed it. It used to be, it's 50 before. I think it's 80 now. They buffed this card. No wonder. Anyway, it applies sleep, but the funny thing is, when you use the card, it already ignores shield, which I feel like is so OP. And then your next attack on it ignores shield again because the target's sleeping. So I feel like yeah, the next attack after it's applied should ignore. But I feel like when it first uses it, it shouldn't, but it does right now. So instead of instead of Chomp, it's that card. So it's almost the same where it's sleep instead of stunned. You get to ignore the shield. Plus it adds speed because it's a bird card instead of a reptile card. Anyway, so this Terminator build is a very common end game. Again, it has the free card. That way you're able to play 3 cards every time. You get to stun a lot, so it negates actions from your opponent, and it still does the big damage with this. But other than that, this one, you get to discard, limits their options. And this card, oh my god, it's OP against Terminators or anyone with a melee build. The other cool closer that I've been playing around with, which sometimes, which might be a good midliner as well. I've seen some people use this as a midliner, or I tried and I've seen some use it as an opener, as a tank, because it heals so well. So fighting this one as a Terminator, I usually lose because he heals so well. With these 2 cards, he does 80 damage, plus he heals 100, because it heals 50 per anemone card, and these are 2 anemone cards, so each time he uses 1 card, he heals 100. And Axies usually only have 400 life, well, the closing Axies, other than tanks, they usually have 400 life, so using 2 of this, you heal 200, using 4, you heal 400, you're fully healed. And then you have a free card, and it gains you energy. Okay damage with this, plus it gives you options. If you get damage early on, then you end up targeting and closing out their Axies that need to be killed. So I've seen, as a closer against Terminators, I lose against this one. It's a good closer, It could be a good midliner to where you're hard to kill because you heal so much at the same time. But I tried it as a tank and it was too easy to kill. If you get lucky to where they were just using cards in the beginning, did little damage here, little damage there, you healed a bit, then they didn't expect you to heal, and they did little damage. So I don't know, but my thing is the times I used it as a tank, they just went all out and it died so easily. It only had 400 damage versus the 500 from a plant. So for me, it wasn't that good. Although I have lost to teams using this, like all speed teams using like this as their tank, and then having like another Aqua and the bird just going really fast, going before me and killing before me. But yeah, this is an option for that. But I think, from my experiences, it's been really good as a closer. So there you go. That's how you build an Axie team. Those are the three. Those are the three types of Axies you need. Again, the tank, your midliner, which can be either DPS or utility or both, and your closer, which should be really, really good at one-on-one situations. And by the way, back to the tank, it should just survive long enough for you to get the combos you need for your back two, as well as maybe provide a little utility by adding cards or adding cards in hand or adding energy, again, for your two powerhouses, especially your DPS, to do some good damage. So that's usually how I build my teams. This is my basic setup. Of course, I have fought a few teams where they try to do something creative. It all depends. But hopefully that helped you out somehow. And if it did, please do like, share, comment. And please do comment as well. Oh, and subscribe. Comment, let me know other suggestions you guys might have, or other really good builds you've seen. I'd love to see them. I'd love to check them out. I'd love to comment on them. And I'd love to help find and build the next meta for the game, which changes so much. Oh my god. Especially now, like the last season. Again, I was in the top 100, but I was checking the top 10 all the time, seeing what are they using, and it was all different. It's all different. Oh my god. I don't think there was anything that was very, very common. So we'll see next season how it goes. It's hard to say in the off season because a lot of the top players are just playing around with different teams. They're testing, so they're usually falling down in rank. So it's during the off season might not be as easy to see what's the best. But yeah, there you go. How to build a good Axie team. The three Axies you need, and hopefully that helps you guys get into the top 100, the top 10 in the future. But yeah, again, please, if that helped you out anyway, please subscribe, like, share, comment. But yeah, my name is Vince. Hope that was good for you too. From WinManila.com and WIMPLAYS. Do watch a stream on WIMPLAYS Facebook. We stream almost every day. And I will see you then. Bye-bye.